Hello? Hello? How's everyone doing? It's a nice Tuesday for me. A little hot, but for the most part it's nice. Sunny out, not a cloud in sight. I really don't like overcast days, but what can you do? Today is not overcast, of course, which is great. But we've been getting a lot of overcast where I am recently, and that's not my favorite. But yeah, relatively good day. Got some work done at work, but for the most part, pretty chill. Although, when I was at work today in the lab, I was really struggling with some of them intrusive thoughts, you know? Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I get intrusive thoughts, sometimes they're like really wild, right? I mean, at my work, we have a bunch of tools and shit in the lab, and some of the stuff we have are we have big, large, massive C-clamps, right? They're for clamping or vicing things down while you work on them. and they're like, you know, a foot long or something like that. Today I was like, this C-clamp, it could fit around my head. I could put it on my head and just start cranking, and it would crush my skull. These are the types of thoughts I struggle with. I don't know how they make it. I don't know how they make it through my brain filter for me to end up like, yeah, let's just put a C-clamp on my head and crank it up until my skull inevitably breaks. Part of me wonders, like, would you even have, like, part of me was like, oh, well, you could just, you know, slowly turn it and feel the pressure rise and just not go to a self-destructive level that would kill me. But part of me also wonders that, like, if you would even, like, no, right? If there's probably some critical point where, like, your skull just immediately gets smashed, right? But I wonder if there's some point where you could crank it and it would feel fine, but if you just wait a couple seconds and then your skull gave out, you know, sort of how, like, things sort of, like, they buckle for a little bit and you're like, oh, it's probably fine, and then suddenly they snap catastrophically. It's... These are terrible thoughts. Yeah, I mean, my intrusive thoughts are... no bueno. No es bueno. They're usually oddly graphic in terrible ways. I don't know why. Like, there's innocent intrusive thoughts where it's like someone yawns and part of me wants to just, like, poke my finger into their mouth just to, like, fuck with them. But there's those nasty intrusive thoughts too, where it's like, oh, you know, I'm driving down the road. What if I just, you know, plowed my car into this building? Maybe that's just deep down I'm super unhinged and is trying to claw its way out. But yeah, I had some weird, crazy, intrusive thoughts today. Struggled to deal with them at work, but just for a little, you know? Just for a little. But now we get to dial in. We get to do some teaching and share some pretty cool stuff, hopefully. I'm really interested to see what people think of this lesson because, you know, it's oddly simple stuff. Oh, hi, Shu. How are you? What time is it over there? It must be either really late or really early. I think really early? Good morning? But, like I was saying, a lot of the stuff I'm gonna be teaching today is, like, weirdly simple in that it's just a bunch of shapes, right? It's like a lot of geometry, so it doesn't seem like it could get that crazy. But at the end, there might be, like, a little bit of a mindfuck moment. Especially if you're not super good with, like, visualizing 3D shapes. Damn, Shu, where are you traveling? Are you on work travel, or is it just like a vacation-y type deal? Also, is the background music a good volume, I think? I think it should be. Oh, give me 1 second. Perfect. Hey, Perry. Oh, you're about to fly? Are you literally on the airplane shoe? The classic? Maybe I overhyped it. I don't know. We'll see. Gonna quickly make sure my Krita is good to go. Does this seem good? I'm wondering if I can keep myself a little bit larger. I think I can. You know? Showcase the goods. Seems like I don't get too much in the way of the screen, so... And the pen looks fine. Change the size before I forget, because that seemed to be like the doom of me later down the road in some of my other streams. And what I'm talking about today is gonna be, because it's like all shapes and geometry, I'm gonna have to draw a lot, so this is gonna, I'm not gonna lie, this might get super duper mega messy. But we'll sort through it. Alright, so what I want to talk about today is like structures at, I wanted to say atomic structures, but I realized that when I say that, people think of like within an atom, but no, I'm talking about like multiple atoms together. I don't want to say molecular because I don't really think of this as molecules, but sort of thinking about, you know, multiple atoms and how they fit together geometrically. And I know that's not really like what people ever are like asking to learn about. It seems like somewhat useless because on the grand stage, like no one's ever really thinking about atoms specifically when they're building stuff. But this plays a little bit into a lot of material science and how different materials behave. And I think there's some pretty good like real life practical analogs. So we're gonna focus on teaching this through that. But to start off, I think a lot of you are probably familiar with like the general idea and model of like an atom, right? Which is you have your nucleus, right? And you've got a bunch of little electrons that, you know, orbit around it, right? You see this sort of looking diagram. I mean, practically, I don't think they orbit in like perfect circles. It's more just like they're in this sort of sphere floating around it. So when we talk about this, because we're talking about lots of atoms, right? And we want to simplify this model, we're just gonna model them all as spheres, right? So when we think about putting atoms together and how they fit together, it's really easy to just think of them as spheres because even though there's like this empty space in the atom, right? They never get close enough where their electrons are really like invading each other's empty space. So we're talking about spheres today, and in terms of our like real life model, our analog, you can just think of it as balls, right? So if you think of, let's say, you know, super mega billionaire Jeff Bezos, right? He comes to you and he says he wants to hire you for Amazon's newest gig, right? They got this brand new contract, right? Their contract is they need to store a lot of balls. not like that, but just like, I don't know, sports balls, tennis balls, you know? Sports balls, basketballs, whatever. And so Bezos has like a super contract to store a bunch of tennis balls or whatever. And he's coming to you, offering to hire you for $1 million grillion to manage this and to sort out a solution for, you know, what's the best way that we can store these balls? You know, store as many as we can, and how many can we store, right? So, when you think about it, and you think about, you know, putting these balls in probably warehouses, right? And he hasn't really sorted that out yet. He hasn't provided you a bunch of warehouses yet. You just know that they're gonna go into warehouses, right, of some size. And you might imagine that they'd all be like normal rectangular shape, but you don't know. They could be odd shaped in some way, right? Triangles even, circles, who knows, right? So, since you don't know the exact shape of these warehouses, right, you can't do any crazy, like, computer modeling or computer simulation to, like, try and cram in as many balls as you can. You just have to think about, you know, how many do we think we can fit in a sort of generalized rule sense, right? So what you might first think of is, you might think, oh, well, we can sort of just generalize and say a warehouse has some volume V, right? And the amount of balls we can store is the volume V of the warehouse, divided by however much volume one of the balls will take, right? E ball, right? Because that's just effectively, you know, calculating how much space there is and how many balls will fit in that. But there's a problem, right? If you have multiple balls together, right? Wow, these are really ugly. This is gonna get really messy when I have to draw the more important diagrams. If you have multiple balls in a box, the box is not actually completely full, right? You have empty space here. So you can't use this equation, because this equation would only work if you filled every single, you know, little gap with the ball. So what can we do, right? Since we can't do any, like, crazy computer simulations without knowing the shapes, what's our game plan? If we have, you know, we do have to remember we can have, like, weird shaped warehouses, right? They could be, you know, whatever shape. How are we going to sort out some system for keeping balls in here? What we can do is we can come up with a tiny solution, right? You know, our same sort of tiny solution of, oh, just a couple balls in this small box. And we just make it such a solution that we can extend it, right? So we just use small solution multiple times until we fill the warehouse, right? And that way, all we have to do is we have to solve for this small solution, and then we can magnify it to fit the scope. They need to store a lot of balls? Yes, exactly. Just like your mom. Okay? So, something important for this is, in order to have this idea of, like, this extendable solution, we need shapes that tessellate, right? So, one would be squares, right? They just fit together. Another might be triangles, right? Or, if you're, you know, you continue your triangle pattern, you end up with hexagons, right? The other thing about this is that, you know, eventually if you extend these really big, you end up with, like, a really big thing of, you know, many triangles or hexagons. But at the end of the day, they're just hexagons. So what we want to do is we want to simplify down to the simplest level, you know, make our unit small so we can have a small, simple solution that's easy to calculate. So with this earlier idea of, you know, these 4 balls from before in that one box, we can actually simplify this a lot, or make it a lot smaller, by just doing like this, right? And this is weird because, you know, this box now does not contain 4 balls. It actually only contains 1. It's just 4 balls of, or it touches 4 balls, but it only touches 1/4 of each, right? And it's just sort of important to remember that if you're tessellating this, right? You tessellate this unit cell. That means this 1 ball is shared by 4 unit cells, right? So that's why every unit cell touching this ball only gets 1/4, right? Because it's split by 4 cells for 1 ball. So yeah, this basic shape that we've done is we have 1 unit cell square with 4 quarters in it. So 4 times 1/4 gives you 1. Or the analogous would be you could shift the unit cells a little and it would look like this. The reason we don't do it like this is because if you do it like this, it doesn't do a very good job of displaying how they tessellate together, right? Because then you could have, whoa, still really bad drawing. You don't know if they fit together like this, right? Where they're like zigzaggy in some way, or they're off kilter, right? We don't like that. We like really clearly defined solutions. So having one ball at each corner makes it very clear how it fits with the others, right? Because there's only one position it can really fit with the others. What's uncalled for, Perry? the your mom joke? Maybe. But you're gonna get a lot of uncalled for your mom jokes with me. Okay, the other thing that we've completely neglected this whole time. Hi, Penboo. Thanks for the clip. The other thing we've neglected this whole time is, obviously, we need to store these in 3 dimensions, okay? So this idea with the 4 balls, right, stored in a box, we need to upscale that to 3D. So it'll be do your best to deal with my shitty drawings of perspective, right? It's 4 balls in like a plane, right? We've flattened our square. And then there's another 4 below it, right? So now instead of a square, we have a cube. But all the same principles, you know, apply. Right? It's just a cube instead of a square. And you'll note, now it is 8 balls and 1/8 of each. Right? And it won't always be these perfect amounts to give you exactly 1 ball. It's just for these simple designs we luck out, right? Okay, so we have this idea of this unit cell, right? This is one single unit cell, and it'll be next to, you know, another unit cell. Right? And it shares sides with all of them, right? They sort of tessellate out. So this is our idea for small solutions that can scale up, right? But how does this help us with our problem with, you know, Bezos and Amazon and sorting out, you know, the problem of calculating how many balls we can store in these warehouses, right? So if you remember, the problem was that if we just did the volume divisions, we had this issue with empty space, right? We needed to account for all this, you know, empty space in our unit cells. So, what we can do is we can quantify that, right? And if we look at the unit cell we just drew with our, you know, 3D 8 balls, we can look at how big the unit cell is, right? So you'll notice one side length of the unit cell is 2 radiuses, right? The radius of this ball, and then the radius of this ball. So it's 1 diameter. The height is the same, 1 diameter. The depth is the same, 1 diameter. So the volume of the unit cell, is diameter cubed, okay? We have 1 ball in the unit cell, right? So the volume of balls in the unit cell is the volume of 1 ball. The ball, if you know your math equations, I had to look this up a while prepping this lesson because it's been so long, is 1/6 pi d cubed, right? So now we know the volume taken up is this, and the volume of the cell is this, and we can make a ratio of how much space is taken up, right? So space taken up, taken over space total would be 1/6 pi d. Man, it is so much easier to write on actual paper than it is for me to write in Krita. D cubed over d cubed, right? That's the ratio. We can cancel the diameters, and that's really notable that we can cancel the diameters, because this tells you that no matter how big the balls are, right? It doesn't matter what size they are. If we use this pattern, it'll always be the same amount of like ratio of space taken or not. It doesn't matter how big they are. But it's essentially equal to 1/6 pi, or approximately 0.52, aka 52%. Alright? We call this packing efficiency, right? Packing efficiency is 52% for this pattern, right? And this pattern, it has a name. It's pretty simple, and it's a cube, so we call this simple cubic. Right? Simple cubic has a packing efficiency of 52%, meaning just over half of it is occupied, right? And just under half of it is empty space. It's really not that good in terms of efficiency. But now, at least since we've gone through this exercise, we have a way to quantify it, right? We have a way to quantify, you know, how efficient a pattern is, and thus we can use that to generalize equations of how many balls we can fit in some space. It doesn't matter what shape the space is in, because it's always going to have the same efficiency as long as we just tessellate this pattern throughout it. Okay? So now that we have a system for, you know, quantifying this, let's get to the actual problem of, you know, what is the best way to store as many balls in a warehouse as we can, you know? We want optimal packing efficiency, which means we want this number to be as high as possible, okay? Now, there's two general ways to approach this, right? Two approaches, right? The first one we've already seen an example of, right? It's where you start with, you know, you're generally going to start with, you know, one ball, and then you just put another one next to it. And then this first approach, what we did is we put two on top, right? And we ended up with a square base. Alright? Square base. That's approach number one. Approach number two, which might be, you know, what more of you might have been reaching towards. I personally like squares, right? Is you start with your same two balls, but your next ball you place and you try and fill the gap, right? So you end up with like a triangle. And if you continue this pattern, right? Again, you know, you end up with a tessellatable shape. Triangles are already tessellatable, but this will go with hexagons, because hexagons will do a better job of describing the shapes for our unit cells later on, right? So approach 2 is hexagon base. Alright, so which way are we going to tackle next, right? We've already seen an example of a square base. It didn't look too good, right? And if you watch CGP Grey, you know, hexagons are the bestagons. So I'm really interested in seeing, you know, how hexagons can do with this. So let's do a hexagon example now, right? Oop. Time for a new layer. Alright, so I'll start by laying a nice base of hexagon-oriented balls. And you're gonna see a lot of these terrible diagrams of shaky hands drawing shapes. that are going to get really messy looking, you know, these should touch. You get the idea, right? So this is our base layer, right? We'll call this layer A. And again, we have to remember that this needs to extend into the third dimension. So the question is, what's going to happen with the third dimension? The next layer, right? Which would be up in the third dimension. So when we put our second layer over this, you're probably going to put them over a hole, right? So we can sort of fill that gap in this hole, right? And then you're going to continue this similar pattern, right? It's going to look identical to the first layer, just sort of shifted, right? Where we still have these triangles. And they still tessellate into, like, fuller hexagons. But something you'll note, right, is that we can actually only fill half of the holes on the first layer, right? So we go back, right? We extend our base layer, because I'm realizing we need a little bit more, right? So if we fill this hole, right, this one, and then we fill the hole here, and our shape extends, you'll note there's every other hole we can't fill, right? There will be a point that is a hole on both layers. It's the hole on layer A, and it's also a hole on layer B, right? So if we extend, we have the same spot here, a hole that penetrates through layer A and layer B, right? So if we think, you know, again in the third dimension, and we think about what's going to be our next layer, we actually have two options. We can go back to layer A and just layer another layer that are, you know, directly over layer A. Or our second option is what we can do is we can create a complete new pattern, right? We'll call it layer C. And the layer C balls will cover the holes that penetrate, right? Two options. Option 1 goes ABA, and option 2 goes ABC. Alright? Now, which one should we draw? We're gonna draw option 1, because option 1 is easier to draw the unit cell for. But I just want you to know that the transition from A to B, right? This interface is the same as from B to C, right? It's just, you know, shifting it over. So these should have the same packing efficiency, right? 1 and 2 should have the same packing efficiency. They're just, you know, slightly different patterns, right? So if we, you know, three-dimensionalize it, right? Our A layer will look something like this. I am really battling with my pen tablet skills, right? So here's our hexagon. Our layer B below it in the unit cell is gonna look like this. You know, it's just a triangle within the cell. And then we'll go back to layer A again. I need to give myself adequate space, so I'll put it down here. Right? And they line up. I'll use red. These should line up, right? With the B layer balls lining up with these holes, right? This hole, there's a hole here and a hole here. Those line up with the B layer balls. And then we sandwich them all together, right? Because these are, you know, these are obviously more spaced out than they should be. We sandwich them all together and we end up with something that looks a lot tighter. That's our A layer. Our B layer is, you know, sort of barely visible within. And then we have another A layer below it, which... Alright, so this is what we call hexagonal close packed. I don't think it's spelled the other packed. It's packed. Or HCP. Alright? Now, we could go through that whole mega exercise of doing the volume equations, but this shape is really not that friendly for that, right? Because first of all, hexagons are kind of gross, right? Way grosser than squares, of course, at least. And then there's like a nasty calculation for, you know, how tall is it? It's not actually that nasty, but I'll save you all the math, and I'll tell you that if this distance is d, right? That's, you know, the diameter of a ball is the space between those two. The height of this is 1.633 d. Okay? And then, if my calculations that I've done beforehand are correct, the whole volume for the unit cell of HCP equal to 4.24 diameters cubed. And if you do the counting, including factoring what fraction of a ball is in the unit cell here, we have 6 balls, right? And we know that each ball gives, if I remember right, it's 0.52 d cubed volume. So 6 balls all together gives us a volume taken up of 3.12 d cubed, right? So our packing efficiency is V balls over V cell equal to 3.12 over 4.24. Again, the diameter factors cancel out because it doesn't matter how big the balls are. And this gives us the calculation for our packing efficiency, which is 0.74, or 74% efficient. 74% of the space in the unit cell is taken up. This is way better than simple cubic, right? Simple cubic had 52%, you know, almost half of it was empty. This is down to just barely over a quarter empty. So this is way better, right? CGP Gray has a very good argument for, you know, hexagons being the bestagons. Going by this, they're way more efficient than simple cubic was, at least. But like I said, I like squares a little bit more than hexagons. I mean, you don't see hexagon Legos, right? Legos are squares. So let's see if squares can challenge this number, right? The number to beat is 74%, right? Because HCP is 74% efficient in packing balls in. Packing balls in. Okay, so if we go back to our square base, because that's what we're trying to do, right? We know that if we just stack this same pattern on top of itself, right? We just stack another layer of this on top of itself, we'll end up with simple cubic. That's bad, but if you were putting balls into a box, right? You probably wouldn't stack them like that. You'd probably say, hey, there's a hole here. We should put the next layer, our balls here, right? Again, like the HCP, this layer is just like the first layer, like, you know, off-shifted. It's still squares, right? So, you'd do that, right? You'd have your base layer, we'll call that layer 1. Your secondary layer, we'll call it layer 2. And then, of course, it would make sense to just go back to the base layer. There's no holes that penetrate in this formation like there were HCP. So there's no third option. You just have to go back from 1 to 2 to 1. And you put your third layer on top of where the first layer was. Okay? So, if we three-dimensionalize this, you might think, okay, we start with a square base, right? You know, that's our square. Three-dimensionalized. And then we had one that was in the hole. That went right in the middle. And then our bottom layer again is the same as the top. Right? You'd probably think, oh, well, this ends up being a cube. Right? It ends up looking like simple cubic. When it's packed together. It should look like simple cubic, but we just have one, you know, in the middle. Picked up a ton of efficiency, right? By ending that gap in the middle. But if you follow along, or if you have a good sense of 3D geometry, or, you know, you have a bunch of tennis balls and you try and make this configuration, you'll notice when you try and sandwich these layers together, you do not end up with this. Okay? You do not end up with a cubic body with one ball in the center. We'll call that idea body center cubic, right? Because it's a cube with one in the center of the body. That is not what you get from this formation. Because what you actually do get is this ball causes too many problems, and it doesn't allow these layers to come close enough to touch. What it actually ends up looking like, if you try and sandwich this, is you have your top layer. God, I'm drawing so many fucking spheres today. And then the middle ball, and then the bottom layer has a gap between it and the top layer. Right? There's this gap. Okay, so this is not body center cubic, right? Not BCC. For what it's worth, the reason I bothered naming this body center cubic is because body center cubic does exist. There is a formation that is a cube with one ball in the center. The difference is the top and bottom layers of body center cubic, their corners don't touch, right? So you end up with this sort of gappy looking cube. Oh man, I've drawn this so badly. Right? Okay? You end up with a gappy looking cube. And if you do the calculations on this, since it's not D, right? You have a gap. It can't be D. The size of this cube is actually root 2D, right? And that's every side, root 2D. You know, the depth also, root 2D. Alright, so your volume will be those put together, which should be equivalent to 1.54 d cubed. Alright, this will be our volume of this unit cell. And if you did the counting on the balls, it's just the simple cubic plus one in the middle. And that is 2 balls or 1.04 d cubed. So our packing efficiency will be 1.04 divided by 1.54, and that gives us a 68% packing efficiency. So better than simple cubic, even though we end up with this bigger unit cell. This cell will be better than simple cubic, of course, but still worse than the hexagons. Alright? But this was sort of a tangent, right? What we wanted to do was we wanted to build this structure. How do we create a unit cell for this structure? Well, if we do our drawing, right? you'll notice there's another way we can draw a square here, right? With our base layer, if instead of drawing our square base like this, we can actually switch it up and we can draw it like this, right? It's a sort of diagonal square, right? And what that means is, if we straighten it out, the idea is the face of this cube will have a ball in the center. And then there will be one at every corner, right? The balls are not in the center of the cube. They are in the center of the face. So what we call this is face centered cubic. Alright? And you'll note that this actually does fit our idea. Because when we do our second layer, right? We did layer 1. And we switched to layer 2, which is the one above it. Right? What do you know? So if you draw it 3D again, huge pain point for me. You do your top layer, when we flatten it out, something like this. Oh man, it's so ugly. Right? Our middle layer consists of the 4 faces, right? The centers for the 4 faces. And they do touch, right? Ugly, ugly, ugly. And then the bottom is, you know, the top again. And then we sandwich them together, right? Because our cube, you know, technically this is one side of our cube. Oh my god, it's so ugly. This is one side of our cube, you know, with this in the center. We sandwich them together. And what it looks like is it looks like this. I'm gonna try different colors. We'll use red for each of the ones that are in the center of a face. Right, so this is the face that's facing us, right? We've got one ball in the center of a face on the right side. So that's this right side is a face with this ball in the center. We've got a ball on the top in the center of this face. Wow. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Right? And I knew I'd run into this issue of drawing this, so I did come with a secret backup plan. It looks like this. Alright, this is face-centered cubic. But what do we actually care about, right? Remember, this is the battle to beat the hexagons, right? What we care about is the packing efficiency, right? So if you do the calculations, I think... Oh wait, I fucked up the... Did I fuck up the... I think, yeah, I think I messed up these numbers. But anyway. The actual size of this volume is root 2D. I think this one was, if I remember right, it was 2 over root 3D. Whoopsie, these numbers were wrong. Teehee. But for this side, for face-centered cubic, I'm pretty sure these are the right numbers. It's root 2D on each side. 2D. And that gives us a total volume for the unit cell of 2 root 2d cubed, or 2.82d cubed, right? V cell. And then the number of balls, if you count this, there's like, you have the normal simple cubic, which is 8 balls times 1/8, yes, 8 balls times 1/8 each, and then you have 6 face-centered balls, which are half each. So that's 1 plus 3 is equal to 4 balls, right? 4 balls gives us 2.08 d cubed of space taken, right? And our packing efficiency, E is that number. It's 2.08 divided by 2.82 is equal to, drumroll please, 74%. If that number looks familiar to you, it's because it is. It's the same packing efficiency as HCP, alright? So we didn't... Team Square didn't get to beat Team Hexagon, unfortunately. But at least we tied, right? So we don't have to feel bad. And, you know, squares are just better, you know? Like I said, you never end up with, you know, hexagon-shaped Legos. You get squares. So I like these face-centered cubic ideas better than HCP. And I'm gonna declare that our winner. Let's go ahead and redraw it. That was a super sloppy drawing, but I think I can do a little bit better. I think, since it's cubic shaped, I think we should just start with the cube, right? I normally like to do, if I'm gonna do like a really nice looking drawing, I normally like to think of like a die and draw the die for the cube. Right? And then we'll just go ahead and we'll start drawing out the atoms. Let's go in order of closest to us, right? So the closest would be this. And then I guess the next closest would be, you know, a layer down. We have one centered here, centered here, centered here. Huh. Guys, this is a triangle. Interesting, but probably just coincidence. We'll just draw the atoms. And I guess in this plane, there's also the ones that would be here. Oops, not there. Here. Right? Huh. Again, a triangle. Must be a coincidence, right? Squares are definitely better, right? It's not a fucking hexagon, right? Let's go down to the next layer. So we had layer 1. Actually, we'll do letters. We had layer A. We had layer B. And now we'll do layer C, right? The farther ones from us. Well, there'd be one here. There'd be one, you know, on the face that we can't see, which is here. And here. Huh. I don't know if this is looking familiar to you guys, but if you remember way back when we talked about HCP, right? Is it this? No, it's the second one. When we talked about HCP, we had this idea of an alternate version. You know, an ABC version. Right? And if we, like, take this idea of face-centered cubic and we split it into 3 layers, right? With our C layer at the bottom. We have our C layer. We recreate, right? It's these 3. And then there's also the bottom face would be here. And then these. right? We've got a fucking triangle. And then our B layer above it filled the fucking holes. And then above it, we filled the hole that penetrated them both, right? So if you're not understanding, when we do HCP, right? We do HCP, we alternate A's B, A. If instead we do A, B, C, we end up with a cube, right? Face-centered cubic, right? That is why they're the same efficiency. Because the squares were hexagons the whole time. And I don't know about you guys, but when I learned this in school, I was like, what the fuck? It all goes back to pyramids at the end. You're right, Perry. You're right. But to me, this was flabbergasting, that you could start with squares and you end up with hexagons. It is a conspiracy theory, Penbu. Right? But this is the fucking wildest thing, is that you start with a square. And because it's three-dimensional, you end up morphing it into a hexagon. This was some wild shit to me. Yeah, I mean, my head hurt too. I was like playing with tennis balls for the next 2 weeks after I learned this pair. But yeah, CGP was right. Hexagons are the bestigons. CGP gray. The goat was right. Hexagons equal bestigons. This is like, I understand that my shitty diagrams probably did not do a good way of displaying all this information. But I hope maybe if you need to Google some better 3D visuals, they'd be helpful. But this is wild to me. And, you know, part of this was that, like, you know, we were just going with this idea of how can we best pack balls into a room, which is actually like, you know, it's a thought that, you know, could reasonably happen. But in terms of engineering, you're like, how does this relate to engineering at all, right? And this is where things get really interesting, right? Because these are shapes, like I said, the point of this was to talk about shapes that atomic structures take, right? These are literal atoms. You have steel. Steel, generally, if you just like create steel and you let it cool naturally, steel ends up with the shape body-centered cubic, right? That is what is called ferrite. Now, if you remember way back in the day, fucking, you know, 2001, 2002, we had all those people who were like, oh, 9/11 conspiracy, because jet fuel can't melt steel beams, which, I mean, we all know is super bullshit because it doesn't need to melt the steel beams. But they're like, jet fuel burns at like 1500 degrees F, steel melts at like 2500 degrees F, right? It should never get high enough to melt. You know what it does get high enough to do? At approximately 1200 degrees F, steel changes structure. It changes from BCC, goes from BCC to FCC. Okay? Goes from ferrite to what's called austenite. And we won't even talk about the differences in material properties between ferrite and austenite. All you need to really think about is you have steel beams holding up the World Trade Centers, right? And within these steel beams, the little atoms decide, oh, we were all, standing around holding this shit up. But actually, we want to move. So these atoms just decide to move. Does that sound like a good idea for your structure? Do you like the idea? Imagine, a bunch of people to get together, right? We get, multiple people, and they all decide they're gonna lift a car. Right? It's like a bunch of people, and they're all here holding this car up. Right? Stable enough, right? They just hold it up. Now, you tell them all to start dancing, to just move around. Do you think this car is gonna be stable anymore? Fuck no! Fuck no! So, next time you hear this jet fuel doesn't melt steel beam shit, you know it doesn't need to melt the steel beams. It just has to do this, right? All that has to happen is we have to heat up to a point where the atoms want to move, right? So yeah, this is what I sit on for whenever I end up with tinfoil hat people. Is this knowledge of fucking... I counter their crazy conspiracy theory with my own crazy conspiracy theory of squares turning to hexagons. And I guess that actually is a square turning to hexagon, because it's BCC, which is not a hexagon. BCC is like actual a cube, body center cubic, and it turns into FCC, which is, hexagons in disguise. We counter their crazy with our crazy. We show them the diagrams. It's like cult symbol. This is legit some, like, you draw this and tell me it was like a magic summoning circle, and I'd believe it. But yeah, so that was today. That was atomic structures and packing efficiency. I think it's again, it's not a topic that I don't think anyone ever goes to school and is like, I want to learn how to put atoms together to make different geometric shapes. But I think it's cool to know about nonetheless, so. I hope you liked the lesson, Perry, and Penbu, and Shu, and whoever was watching. I hope it wasn't too awfully messy, because it was really messy. I tried my best to not make it messy, and I had, notes prepped and all that, but it's drawing these things is hard, and drawing on the tablet is way more difficult for me to make what I want to make than on real paper. Because on real paper, I swear to God, my real paper notes for this were clean enough. Oh, I'm sorry, Perry. I hope your internet issues weren't too bad. But yeah, this is my conspiracy theory. Squares are hexagons. But this is also I want to say it's foundational knowledge to material science, because it sort of is. These ideas of atomic structures do lead into like a lot of ideas in terms of how materials deform, right? But I don't think I'll ever be teaching material science beyond this that traces back to this, that we can trace back to this idea. But I do plan on doing another sort of material science lesson maybe next week. Next week we'll talk about what you probably think more of in terms of practical material science, which is, we're going to talk about the strength of materials, right? Which is like, how do we quantify when something is stronger than another, right? What is the best material to hold up this weight? To handle this, stretch? How do we quantify all that? And I think that'll be a really cool lesson. That also, I think, is fairly intuitive, and the diagrams will be way easier to draw than this. So I look forward to teaching you guys about that. But yeah, for now we settle with geometry and tinfoil hat theories and silly stuff. It is cool. It's been about an hour, which is a, decent enough size lesson plan. Let's see what else we can do. I mean, I'm sort of on the fence about, maybe either like playing chess or doing some sort of logic puzzly stuff, right? Since it's our educational day. Or the other thing we can do is I'm sort of thinking about, spitballing ideas for our channel emotes. Since we are so close to affiliate, I don't know what's going on. I mean, when I look at my channel, it says 50 followers, but when I look at the affiliate progress thing, it says 49 followers. So curse you, Twitch, for gatekeeping me for no reason. But we're almost there. So part of me wants to start planning ideas for, emotes and other stuff, ideas for us as a community, our small but hopefully growing community. Because, I mean, what ideas do I have, right? I think it's, we get like 5 slots? 5 flat emote slots? So, I mean, I think things that are must-have are Omega Lol, right? That's for sure needed. What else is there? And I think I don't know if I get 1 animated or 5. I think it's 5, but I'm not sure. And I think for that, I think my first one I would definitely want, we'll change colors here. 2, 3, 4, 5. I definitely want a bonk like Henya's, because Henya's bonk is so smooth. But yeah, I mean, what else do we want with our statics? I think a pog is probably good. I think a flushed could be good. But how do we, I have a lot of, sort of ideas. I'm just not sure if they're worth getting the slots, right? A smug might be good. What else is there? A wave. Everyone has a wave. Wave is pretty common. I guess it's better to just list a lot and then cull them. Not like this. Noted. Tip. Wait, is Naruhodo, is that noted? Is that what that means? Because I hear people saying it, and I thought it was like I see or something like that, but I wasn't sure. I think is a good one. I just don't know if it's... Let's just add it. Think. I see or understood. Okay. Do you know Japanese, Penbu? Or just here and there, I just know here and there because, watching anime you pick up here and there, or watching streamers you pick up here and there, What else could we do? Oh. Cry. I think Cry is a good one. What else? I know Ayuki Akiba has a Dies of Cringe, which is really good. I also wouldn't mind some shitpost ones, right? I had some ideas for nut, but not, not Not nut, but like a nut or a bolt. I don't know if I'll waste one of my first 5 on that, but maybe. I think that would be a great great shitpost to use. Like, if I had it, I would use it on other people's streams and their chats as like a little bit of a shitpost, but or like screw. What reactions my chat might have? I don't know, because as much as I like, it's so hard for me to think about like what should be considered like my general stream content, because there's like, it's not all the same, right? There's like 2 categories. There's like, one is I'm like teaching, and 2 is I'm playing games, which means I'm basically shitposting, right? Noted would, yeah, I mean, noted would be good. Yeah, I'm thinking about how it would be. I guess it would be like, it'd be like, you know, a normal person emoji with like a notepad and like a writing implement, you know, taking notes. Right. I think I'll have to really think about this. And then maybe plan some like outlines. I don't think I'll draw my own emotes, because I mean, you guys have seen my art and you see that it's not good, or at least within like a reasonable amount of time it's not good. So I think I'll probably commission someone. I'm looking into finding someone to commission to do emotes. Yeah, what kind of stuff do I feel like sending in other people's chats? Ooh. In terms of animated ones, dancing or like waving glow sticks, or, you know, stuff like that. Stuff to do when people are singing, you know. Dance. Glow sticks. Because, you know, I think you're right in that you want stuff that does fit like general Twitch cultures that you would send in other people's streams. So yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I need to cook for a little bit longer and sort out. But I'm glad to have people's inputs, right? Just cause, you know, I also want to set a good foundation for people who may end up wanting to, you know, become, I guess the right words are join this community, right? Build the community. And, you know, setting up a good foundation for that with, you know, cool emotes that people like, what I think is a great way to make people feel comfortable, or make people want to be part of the community. As silly as that, like, it sounds almost gimmicky, right? You lure them in with cool emotes, but it's just a little bit more incentive. Channel redeems? I actually haven't thought enough about that, Perry. Do you have ideas? I mean, like, my model, I don't think my model has good toggles for toggle redeems, so probably not that. If I did have good good toggles, then I would probably have some redeems for toggles. Text-to-speech, maybe? Oh, I'm sure, Penbu. I know there's a lot of streamers I watch, and I'm maybe a little bit less inclined to sub to people than others, but there's a lot of streamers that I watch, and I'm like, that emote looks real tempting. Hydrate is a good generic one. I feel like it's almost too boring though. But although I say that, but when people do have hydrate redeems, it seems like people use them a lot. Posture check? Oh no. Oh no. You reminded me that I'm sitting like a shrimp. Half the time I'm like, why does my back hurt? And then the other half the time I'm like, literally, this is my chair, and I'm literally like this. Yeah. Good idea. Redeems. Hydrate. I know people have... They have, like, high redeems, but I feel like that's not good because I feel like I want to say hi to people no matter what. Oh, what else do there's something... I need to figure out how it works, but they've got the stuff where people do, like, if you put emotes in chat, then the emotes show up on stream. Make it raining little bell emotes. Ugh. I didn't even realize how shrimped my back was. I'm stretching it now and it feels... I mean, I guess I could put the high redeems for the lurkers. To me personally, it's almost odd that I sort of understand the high redeems for lurkers on, like, very populated chats, because chats that move really quickly, I guess the streamer can't see or remember every new name that pops in. So a high redeem, you know, forces them to acknowledge that this is like a new person, or sort of guarantees that it's not gonna get overlooked. But yeah. And then there's also the... I'm not sure how the tech works, right? There's the, like, I think it's called TITS. It's like Twitch integrated throwing system, where you, like, throw shit at them, and then it's objects that, you know, fly across the screen at my head and it go oof. But I don't know, how does that interface with... Like, that has to interface with VTube Studio model, right? It must. I don't know how it works. I also think that one might... I don't know if that's one that requires money to work. I was watching Dr. Hessel's stream the other day, and I think he has a TTS redeem, which makes the chat, you know, TTS is your chat, which I think is cool. So, maybe a TTS redeem, or something of the sort. Maybe we can do... sound alerts. Sound alerts sound cool. Although it seems like sometimes... It seems like most of the time I see or hear about sound alerts on people's streams, they're like paid for with bits. And there must be a way to do it not paid for with bits though, right? First redeem? first redeem, I mean, I guess gets used, right? It gets used once per stream, but getting used only once per stream is... I get it though. People like claiming their like little victory trophies. Sound redeemed with points should be possible. Yeah. Maybe we'll do stuff like that. I don't know. I need to like formalize a list of things to improve, because there's a lot of stuff that like I see other people do cool stuff and I'm like, man, that seems so cool. I need to sort out how to set that out. And then it ends up being such a like a long list that you forget about stuff. Like there's also, I know Ayuki has one where you can like cause Twitch clips to play, where you put the Twitch clip link in chat and it plays on her stream. Ooh, VIP point redeem? Interesting. Okay, so I guess the question, does VIP doesn't do anything other than give you a badge, right? Because I mean, you see the badges, right? They are clear. I just they don't give like actual power, right? I don't want to accidentally give some. Oh, it makes you immune to slow mode? Interesting. Interesting. So it's like some level between a normal user and a mod, right? Like there's normal, VIP, mod? Interesting. Okay. This is all good stuff to know. Do 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 do. What else? Redeems, emotes. Oh, I probably also should set up bot commands. Like, a bot command to bring up my Discord link would probably be a lot easier to do than me hunting down the link every time. Oh, head pats! Head pats is a good one. Or other stickers, right? I mean, there's a lot of stickers you could do. Let me check my VTube studio and see what I have. Let's see. I mean, of course I have... I even have on my stream deck, I already have like the hotkey for the gun, of course. Cause the gun's a classic for me. What else can we have? There's the, ooh. What else do we have? I really should play a little bit more with VTube Studio, because there's some cool stuff. They have cat ears. Oh, I needed... There's a different... Okay, I need to find... 2 cat ears. I need to find the other cat ear. There must be a way to mirror, right? Is there... Anyone know the command to mirror? There's no way they loaded a separate file because it says black cat ear, not black cat ear right. Oh no. Oh no, the flaws in my model are showing. That I didn't properly scale the angles and stuff. Not like this. Not like this. Ba-ba. You use Inochi 2D. I've not even heard of it. Do you like it? Control click. Okay. Okay, it's control click to flip the ear, so I can go... Bam? No? Eh. Sorry, I have... Things were starting to get messy. Okay. Control click. Okay. There we go. Is it weird to have 4 ears? The cat ear and my ear? Yeah. I should add... I need Steam Deck toggles for animal ears so I can do them quick instead of this terrible process. If it weren't around, you probably wouldn't be VTubing. Oh, it's because you're a Linux user. Yeah, I think 4 ears is like semi-common, but I think it's normally not that blatant. Or maybe I'm just... It's one of those things where you see it on other people and you ignore it, but as soon as you see it on yourself, it bothers you. I think... Also, maybe a little more angle on these ears. Ain't I cute? Meow. What else we got? The presets for Live 2D are pretty good. Let's do... Nope, that's not what I want. Here we go. I'm all comfy like... Ta-da. I feel like, does it belong lower? Lower looks... We just make it really big. There we go. What else? Wait, there's cat blankets. Ah! I've messed up, and now I have to... I need to become more used to this program and its ins and outs. Oh, wait, we can... Oh, here we go. Here we go. We unlock. And we destroy that. Cast it into the fires. Oh, it turns. I did not intend it to turn like that. Wait, so Penbu, do you have stickers in your program? In Nochi 2D? You have any cool ones? Something horrible is happening with my cursor. With my pen. Okay. Oh, it's so twisted. It's so twisted. Maybe I need to make model changes so that it the angles match instead of whatever horrid abomination is going on here. What redeems? It's because I have goldfish brain, Perry. But I feel like goldfish brain is... That's just streamers. Not implemented yet. What else we got? I think there were filters too. Hold on. Filters. I know they exist, I just have to find them in the thing. This one? Toby. Visual effects. Okay. Let's see what we got. Color grading? Saturation, brightness. I'm not seeing them affected at all. We'll try something else. Analog glitch? Oh, I don't like that. Oh no. What about, what is it? Oh no, that's... Okay, we don't like... Analog glitch is not what we want. Let's see, what does digital glitch do? Well... I don't know if we want that either. Cinematic letterbox. Oh, it just puts a... Interesting. Oh, it's like the... It's like what you see right before action sequences. Right? Where it's like... The hero and the villain are like facing off and she's like... It's time to duel. I have seen that short. The biblically accurate short with Limes. Limes is super cute, by the way. God, so many VTubers are just so cute. Line effect. Hessel raided. Thanks for the raid, Hessel. Hi, raiders. We're here. We finished our lesson. But we were talking about some crazy tinfoil hat stuff. About like squares and hexagons and shit. Hold on, I need to make myself smaller. I mean, we were talking... I swear to God, this is not like a cult ritual summoning circle for a demon. But we were talking about... I don't know if you're familiar. We were talking about, like, atomic structures and how, like, atoms fit together in different shapes, you know? There's, like, simple cubic and hexagonal close packed and face-centered cubic. And, yeah, I mean, I know it looks... I swear to God, I'm not like some crackhead tinfoil hat theorist. It's just... The diagrams for this topic are... they're just wacky. Sacred geometry? I think sacred might be the wrong word. I think I'm more inclined to believe cursed. But yeah, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about yes. Summoning circles for the cat robe. Maybe them guys were onto something. I mean, the people who came up with all these ideas, half the time I think they're geniuses, and the other half the time I think they must all be like snorting crack, right? I mean, I know if I like didn't understand English, right? So I couldn't read any of this stuff. Even being able to read it. I think these are the notes of a madman. And this is the sort of shit you would see on the walls of like some mad scientist's lab if you watch like some superhero movie or something like that, right? As someone's going insane. They absorb too much knowledge from the Tesseract or whatever. And I guess part of it is that, as you might have seen, my diagram drawing skills are sort of awful. But we sort of made it through. Kind of Christmassy. Christmassy stuff. But yeah, how's your stream, Hessel? I hope it went well. Also, if you need to take care of post-stream stuff, go ahead. Don't let me keep you away from whatever you need to do with your life. Yeah, since then, I've been messing with random things in VTube Studio that I really should have messed with earlier. Because there's some interesting ones. I'm trying to find really nice ones. Or the ones that you see. Old film... Line scanner? What's line scanner? Effect on? Oh! Interesting. Ah. Yeah. They look surprisingly neat zoomed out. I'm not sure if I should take offense or not. Probably not, because I accept that I'm very not good at drawing. Ah, what an effect. Okay. I don't think I'll use that one. What else do we have? Foreground shift, background shift. Line scanner, analog. TV static grain? Oh, edge detection. Here we go. If we turn it on, and we whoa! Okay. That is... This is something. Ah! It, like, really yanks up the contrast, too. I'm just messing around with with these crazy settings. ASCII text effect? Whoa. Interesting. Thanks for the follow, Songbird. Dwarf Fortress? Is Dwarf Fortress good? I haven't played it. I've just heard of it. Oh, that's not. Here we go. Oh, I can be like pixel art. Ba 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 ba. Me when you have bad internet. Color overlay? Oh. Interesting. What if we change the color to red? Okay, this is like... I feel like this is like a horror effect. This is when you see like anime characters and they like just took a massive hit of psychological damage, it flashes like a still screen of them with like this shading. Wait, what kind of game is it? I thought, if I remember right, it looked sort of strategy-ish? Is that wrong? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game. What is posterize? I don't know what this does. I don't know. I don't understand what this how this filter works. Do this in front of the summoning circles? Here we go. I see, RimWorld. Okay. That does sound fun. Maybe I'll try it at some point. I used to really like strategy games, right? I used to I used to really like StarCraft, and there's a Lord of the Rings variant that I spent must have been like hundreds of hours playing, called Battle for Middle-earth. Battle for Middle-earth was really good. And maybe I'll play that at some point on stream. That was such a fun game. I feel like as I add more filters, I just become more and more cursed. Character visibility. Recently added adventure mode. Okay. I'll take a look on Steam and think about it. Steam version of Dwarf Fortress is a different thing-ish from version on the Bay 12 site. Okay, for a second, when you said Bay 12, I thought it was like Pirate Bay and you were advocating for illegal downloading of something, which, I mean, I would never advocate for illegal downloading of anything. Definitely did not pirate my textbooks for college. Nope. Nothing sussy here. It's never something you could do that's not good, of course. Yes, we follow all the rules. I definitely paid the like $200 per textbook for every class that I ever took. Oh god. One of these days, someone's gonna be trying to cause damage to me as a person, and they're gonna look that up and be like, arrest her! Police, arrest Belle! She pirated her college textbooks. Send her to jail forever. What else we got? More filters. Oop, turned them off. Wow, seeing them all apply and unapply is sort of wild. Oh, there's also... Where's the thing? I remember there was a thing that like, you had the... There's like a fisheye filter. But it was in a different spot. Dang it! Dang it! I need to master Live 2D better. Because right now I'm a scuff streamer. Custom particle effects, vignette, command, blah 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 blah. What do we got? Where's the cursed biblically accurate filter? Let's see. Google, help me out. YouTube Studio biblically accurate filter.
Hello, Paradox.
No easy to read guides. Curse you, Google algorithm, you needed to do a little bit better. Not that the Google algorithm is really that bad. Google algorithm's, I guess, scarily good. You know? At a practical level, it is accurate to the point where I understand why people are afraid, but it's so good at finding what I want to find that I'm willing to accept it. You should definitely not use the textbooks that were freely available online. And when he said that, he meant definitely not. Right? The old wink wink nudge nudge. Most of my professors, a lot of my professors at least, like wrote their own textbooks, so they were trying to eke out some of the money from us. Custom particle shower. What do we got? Wait, we can shower ourselves. Okay, guys. Let's see if this... Hold on, I need to turn off all the other filters. We need to clear this. So that we can have just the clean, me raining phase. Do I get in? Okay, I mean, maybe I shouldn't do that because it is very possible that that is something I'm not supposed to do, and that's some sort of, it's not copyright infringement, it's like stealing. I don't know what the exact word would be for that. But maybe we'll use something else instead of the phase. What do we got? That would be a good redeem. We were talking about other things, Hessel, earlier, about like, for when I get affiliate, if Twitch stops gatekeeping me, then what should be like good redeems, good emotes and stuff, and we have like a little bit of a list. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a crackhead, so my my notes are always all over the place. Right. But, alright, can we make it rain? Ooh, there's a rainbow ornament. Perfect for Pride Month. Happy Pride Month, by the way, guys. I hope everyone is happy to be who they are. Which is oddly like... it's kind of disappointing that it's not... I don't want to say it's not common, but I feel like it's less common than it should be, right? Y'all should feel happy to be who you are. And if not, then you should feel happy being the 2D anime person you want to be. Become a VTuber. Reject reality, become VTuber. Do. Is it copy? So Penpu, are emotes? Does that fall? I think copyright. I thought copyright had to be like a brand. Is emotes just? I think it must be. Maybe it's intellectual property theft or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. It also might depend on what country we're in. Turn back on our edge detection. Wow, this really makes my my blush stick out. Which I think is... Oh, I guess it already is like there, but I mean, the edge detection really makes it there. The little lines? Oh, that's not good. We don't do that. You saw nothing. You definitely didn't see the ring of mesh around my mouth from where I rigged it. It is super interesting to see all that stuff. If you guys haven't like rigged a model, seeing like how all that stuff gets meshed is really intriguing. And I think it's a cool thing to just mess around with. Although making a model is I guess you could always do a simple one and that wouldn't be that time consuming. But making my model was pretty time consuming, so. You always wanted to be an anime man since you were younger. Wait, live 2D duck? Is it a awfully accurate duck? Is that what you're about to tell me? Or have you seen... I don't know how many of you are like really familiar with like a lot of live 2D creators, but like Iron Vertex, the like mega famous guild, they're like guild like manager, CEO, whatever, Brian's... I think it's Brian? Hold on. Yeah, Brian Sui. He's made some truly cursed inventions. Let's see if I can... Let's see if I can find it. And we can watch in horror together. Oh, here we go. Let me switch my OBS. And we'll move... You can DM it to me on or put it in my Discord, I think. I don't know. Or you can send it to me wherever. Hold on. Let's see. Scene. Left display. It's hidden under Beta. Guys, we're about to witness horror together. And when you get PTSD, I hope you don't blame me too much. Let me turn off my Live 2D Rain of Christmas Ornaments. Okay. Like I said, I hope this doesn't inflict insane trauma to you. Something terrible is about to happen, and you can already tell.
You guys want to see it again? You would? You would what? You would what? Hey, Gucci, this is you.
Oh no.
Hey Gucci, this is literally you and the rest of the chat right now.
Also, I don't know how they do this, like,
another episode
model
of
stacking.
Live 2D tutorial. Today we'll be rigging something different. Today we have here a character object that is not usual. We've seen a few VTubers like these. For example, there's like Bao the Whale, there's Gura, and a few others. Today we'll talk about how to
both
bring
models
out the most of those
like
materials.
are triggered by his
you don't
tracker.
want to just apply normal human characters. You want to add
Can I just have two models out at the same time?
Properties of under ocean creatures into the Live 2D. So let's see what we have here today.
Oh no. Also, is like, it is wild to me that that fish, like,
All right.
that fish actually, its mouth moves like that? Why? What kind of fish is this?
Certain fish. I will, to save everyone time, I have to separate this, and we can jump right into building Live 2D future. We can sit down and analyze a little bit. So what do we have here? We have, I like this arm a lot. The arm has this perfect angle to see the flow of energy of this triangular shape, like a spiral curving out to present to the camera. It's very important to see poses, the power of poses and postures. It is currently, what you see here is the flow of energy from back to front all the way back up here. Right there.
Yeah, but
everyone,
why? What is the purpose for a fish to have a mouth that goes blah, 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 and sticks out like that?
Fibonacci,
Why?
thank you. Yes, this is the Fibonacci graph.
This is
as
awful.
you can see, the perfect art form is in front of us. It's in our everyday life. We just have to pay attention to them. So what do you have here? You want to know what kind of action we're giving.
Hey, skill issue.
If you notice in my parameters, I do not have
head
X, Y, or body. So this time, because
we're looking at Live 2D.
We don't.
Yeah, Live 2D
need to do as
modeling.
much about angle
You're about to
turning.
witness something
We
cursed.
can do more focusing on the core feature of this model to bring out the most of it. I have the eyes cut out. I have the mouth cut out.
So yeah, when you do Live 2D, you like start with the picture and you like split it into layers.
Fish mustache.
You like.
There are two little fins here.
There's a lot to it.
And not much, but with these materials, we will bring out the core feature. So we have here separation of the mouthpiece. We have the upper mouth, the side, lower lips, and the inner mouth.
He did so much work. He split all these
And
different layers.
I think you can all see how the challenge of this rig is how do you get from here to here? How do you do this? How do you do this to make a seamless transition between state A to state B? The end of this, we will put this in VTube Studio and we'll test out the core feature with face tracking. Let's start with the polygons. Let's see Let's clean this up a
God.
little bit. Automatically
The
generate
custom meshing.
polygons will
Alright,
not
let's
be
skip to
good
the end and
enough
see
to bring out the best.
what he cooks
The
up.
whole tension.
Oh man, he's going into all the
let's
art.
go.
Oh no. Oh no.
And then a little mustache.
The
here.
ears
I
are
don't know what that
sticker
is.
skill issue. Do you like them? Meow. Meow. I was inspired by a shoe.
Oh! Oh!
This is cursed.
No! And we got this.
Yeah, it's VTube Studio,
we
okay.
flappy. We flappy. We flapping. Alright. Alright. And let's go export.
We jiggly fish.
The LZ.
Oh no.
How are we doing? Great. We're doing absolutely fantastic. Mouth open. Pretty straightforward. Ba 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 ba. 3.5. There you go. Now I'm talking. Now I'm talking. Oh. Oh Lord. Oh. So y'all know. We all know where this is going. We all know what's gonna happen next. We came here today. We're doing this.
Oh no.
We're making this moment happen. I hope you're ready to see the new Fish VTuber debut. Click on mouth funnel, and after I press the select button, this is it. Irashimasen.
Oh no!
Oh, oh, baby! Oh! Oh! Oh!
Stop this cursed madness, Bryant 34 zooms.
Let's compare. Let's compare the source and see how close we are. Let's. No, don't leave. Don't leave me. Let's pull the source in and see how it goes. I think we're doing it. Am I doing it, guys?
Fish VTuber. New fish VTuber incoming.
I'll show you a teaser of get the idea of what is about to happen. So, other than this, I have prepared a folder. There's this thing, and I'm just gonna leave it here.
No.
I'm just gonna let you see.
Bryant 34 not like this.
I will let you figure out what is this for, okay? I have the second part of this model. I will build one more feature for this one. So, yeah.
So yeah, now I'm glad I've blessed you all with this curse. This
Let's
awful
compare the
existence.
source and see how close we are.
So yeah, if you guys like VTubers, you've probably seen VTubers rigged by this guy, by Brian Sui. Just know that while he does the God's work, he also does whatever this is. God's punishment to mankind. Find the eye bleach? It's right here. It's right here. Aren't I cute? My little fangs? I'm the best. I'm the cutest, right? Right, chat? I'm the only eye bleach you ever need. Remember that, chat. Remember. Or suffer. Alright, it's been 2 hours since we started stream. I think it might be time to call it. Thanks if you hung around from the raid. I think I will pass it forward and look to raid someone else. Let's see. Let's see who else is. Oh, I need to. Do. Let's raid Ayuki. I don't know if you guys know Ayuki. Ayuki Akiba is a mod for a lot of the VShojo streamers, but she's also a streamer herself, and I really like her. So we're gonna raid into her. Be good to her like you were good to me. And hope you guys have a good night. Oh, also, before we go, I will be streaming Friday at the normal Friday time, 9 p.m. Pacific. That'll be, I think I have that scheduled to be Armored Core, and then Sunday we'll be playing Wuthering Waves. And then next week we'll do more material science teaching. Alright, anyway, have a good night. And I'll see you guys next time.